give our guests the chance to ask their questions as well. So my first question is going to be,
hello everyone,
to move out or not.
You're all
because
welcome.
some people are always like, oh,
good evening.
like when you move out, like
this is an audio
like I've seen
an audio presentation
moving out from your parents' house. And then there's this other set of people that are like,
that I'm also streaming live on my platform. So
light, you don't pay rent.
You might need to wait a bit.
Stay there until you make so much money that you know that if you move out of your parents' house,
if you're watching the replay, you can do a fast forward. Let me know where you're watching from.
So basically, the question is to move out or not. And I would love to throw that question at Miss Omo Barbarian, because I believe that she would have the best answer for us as regards this question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's really nice to be here, and I hope our weekend is going on well. Okay, you said how, please can you come again with the question? Sorry.
All right, the question is to move out or not. To move out from our parents' house or not, so we should stay there.
Okay, I would like by starting to say that adulthood is a very pleasant experience, because, you know, when we are children, we can't really do things on our own. We have to depend on our parents for so many things, for our basic financial needs, even for decision makings. We have to wait on them. We have to ask them questions. They have to approve so many things before we can go ahead. And now that we are adults, we are at the stage where we have to take some decisions on our own, where we are like the controller of our lives. Even though we have parents, even though we have guidance, we'll still, their opinion, or let me say their part in our life, is like secondary at that point when we become an adult, because they believe that we are an adult and we can make the right decision for ourselves. So now, looking at the question you asked, you said, should we stay in or out when we become adults? Now, I think it depends on, it boils down to so many factors. Number one is the perspective of the parents concerning moving out or staying. Some parents really do not have any problem with you moving out and staying on your own, because, like I said, you're an adult, and most of the time they believe that you can take care of yourself. So, but if you have a parent that will not allow it for whatever reason, they might have their reasons, and they might have the chance to explain to you that, oh, this is why we don't want you to move out. Then, or it's against their personal values, you know. If it's against their personal values, most of the time you really do not have any choice than to stay. So that's number one. Number two is finances. If you want to move out from your parents' house, that means you are capable of taking care of your finances. You have the money to get an accommodation, to furnish it, you know, just the basic things you need, feeding and every other thing that you need, bills. You know, you have to pay for your electricity bill, water bill, and so many other bills. So if you have the finances and your parents agree that you should, then no problem. There is really nothing stopping anyone from staying on their own when they are adults, except those two reasons that I gave. For instance, if the parents' value are against it, and probably the person has not really gotten to that financial level where they can take care of themselves. So those are the number two. Those are the two things. Then additionally, some people, they believe that when they are, so some parents now, they believe that when children move out of their house, they are trying to prove a point, like, I'm no longer under you. I am not, you don't have any say over my life, you know. So for them, they see it as a big deal that, okay, you have to stay here until you get married, and so on and so forth. For some people, work might not allow them, like they work in another country or in another state or in another city, so they have to move out, you know. So there are so many factors that contribute to staying or moving. But for me personally, moving out of one's parents' house is not a bad thing if you can figure out all those things that I've mentioned earlier. So that's just my contribution. I hope I did justice to that.
All right, thank you very much, Oma. Thank you very much, Oma.
I think I was able to resonate with what you mentioned. It makes a lot of sense to me, right? I believe that the audience can also definitely resonate with that as well. All right, so before we even ask more questions, right, personal questions particularly, I think I'm very interested in hearing every single person's opinion here about generally about how your adulthood, except love says she's not yet an adult, so we'll just keep her on one side. So for everyone who's here, I guess particularly, we want to just just understand or listen to your own experience of adulthood so far. We have this popular Nigerian saying. I don't know if it's just in Nigeria. I think it's probably just here, right? Where they say adulthood na scam or adulthood is a scam. So for every single person here, how has your own adulthood experience been so far? What exactly would you say in a few words? How would you explain your adulthood? So I think I'll start with Goodness. I want to hear Goodness' perspective because I know Goodness is like one person we all look up to here, especially since she gets to build up conversations around things like that are targeted towards 20-something-year-olds. She has a series where she talks about things like that, and so I just want to hear your own thoughts or your experience of adulthood so far. Then we'll go around.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Goodness is actually writing a book on adulting, so I would love to definitely hear her point of view about it. So, Goodness.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so Goodness, what's your take on adulting?
Oh my god, I'm laughing. Okay, so I'll start with adulthood is more like wow. Yes, wow. It's an adventure basically. So I'll be turning 23 in 11 days. And for the past, let's say, 4 to 3 years of my life now, I've been like, oh my God, what am I doing? And okay, so just like life is not, black or white, good or bad, I think that is the same thing with adulthood. It's not exactly a scam, nor is it a total adventure either. I think it's just somewhere in the middle where you are just like, okay, it's time to take care of myself. It's time to, and then even as you know that it's time for you to become accountable for yourself, to become responsible, you're still waiting on others. You still really wish someone would just come in and lead you by the hand through the whole experience. And honestly, it's not exciting sometimes. And then sometimes you're like, I'm doing this. Oh my God, I've got this. Yes, I'm doing well. You get okay. Just like on this topic of moving out. Oh my God, I just moved. I moved from my mom's house, my parents' house, and I moved in. And the advice I'm giving my friend is, if you want to move out, please make sure that you are mentally ready, please. And I am, in addition to what our mommy or mother parents told us, like just make sure that you are mentally ready to move out because you will break down. No. Anyways, on adulthood generally, it's exciting, but the thing is, you can't do this whole adult thing by yourself. So this is the period where you audit your environment. You know the people you have around you because most times it's about who you are taking this journey, who you are taking on this journey, the friends around you. Sometimes I'm just broken and I just start asking my friends questions. I just call anyone and start just talking to them. You get, and it's also time that you just take your walk with God seriously because sometimes you're like, you know that this is beyond physical. You just need a higher force to do this thing with you, and you can't just handle it by yourself anymore. But most important thing is building confidence. Oh my God. I think this is one thing, this whole imposter syndrome that we all experience, I think it's actually one thing that we really need to discuss because we need to build confidence. And sometimes as an adult, like as a growing adult, as a young adult, you just feel like I need to be confident, I need to be sure, I need to make sure that I can handle this before I do it. But most times you build confidence through competence. Like you start building your competence, and as you keep going, you just start building your confidence somehow. Courage is not like the absence of fear. That is one thing I've realized. Courage is actually walking through that fear and knowing that, oh, wow, that was actually nothing. I mean, oh, what was that thing that I was looking at? And it's also recognizing the fact that all your excuses, honestly, they are valid. But it's now time that you bring the whole being intentional about what you really want out of life, what you want to do, what you want to have, where you want to be. You know, you become intentional about the whole thing and decide, you know, these excuses I need to, they are valid, quite all right, but it's time to scrape all that and really focus on what I want. And it's also time to learn how to say no. I know that is a very important one too, because most times we want to please, especially since we want to build our network. So we just keep doing things, but we need to learn how to say no, not just to people, but also to things that we're not supposed to do, you know, and all that. So basically, that's the general thing about adulthood for me.
I love what you said. Goodness, I think I particularly loved how you said adulthood is also a time to build your confidence, and you mentioned that you build that confidence through competence. When you said that, I was literally snapping my fingers, right? Because I think that's so powerful. And I also love that you highlighted how adulthood is a time to learn to say no. We all like to say yes, right? But I think that it's also necessary for us to learn how to say no, because it's also part of growing up, and say no without necessarily feeling like you just reaped the world of some treasure, right? So thank you very much for sharing your own perspective about your own experience with adulthood with us. All right, I think I would love to hear from the man's perspective himself. Shout out to you, Peter Ibuka. So we just want to hear from you, right? What exactly has been your own experience with adulthood? Tell us, how is it been, especially as a man? Is adulthood knocking you on the head like it is knocking some of us?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak. So, for my own experience, it's not really easy. Being a man is not easy. You know, like there are a lot of things that you need to do. I started when I was, I think I became independent partly when I was 17. That is like 10 years ago. I became independent partly when I was 17, and it's never an easy one. Before getting into university, I had to work to save, and so I can have something to pay for my fee. I think I paid my school fees myself 3 times. The school where I schooled, I think, is 5 years. So it's never easy. And there's one thing I observed, right, during this my time is when you see a man say everything is okay, everything is not really okay, because they have a lot of things that they have different bills to pay. They have different things to get, not even for themselves, but for their loved ones, for their juniors, or for their siblings, yeah? Or if you are married, then for your family. So it's never an easy journey. To me, it was never easy. But one thing that keeps me going is the drive that I have, is also the discipline that I have, and then determination. So most times, if you are planning to stay alone, or if you are planning to just maybe move out from your comfort zone, I always advise. It all depends. If you are in your comfort zone, and you can see, of course you can still make something out of it if you are focused. So you just knowing, or I tend to focus more when I'm not in my comfort zone. I tend to achieve a lot when I'm not in my comfort zone. So I think I was among those EGATI spotlighted as top 50 African influencers. During those periods, I was actually serving, and I was serving in Ekiti State. I had like the money and connection to like redeploy back here to Lagos. But I choose to stay in Ekiti State because I just want to stay out of my comfort zone and stay in a place where I've not been. Where I got the letter from NYC that I've been posted to Ekiti State, I had to browse on my Google, where is Ekiti State, stuff like that, just to like check the place. It was really funny. Like, I never knew of Ekiti State. I don't know if anybody on this call is from Ekiti State, but I never knew of that particular state. So, but I went there so I can, experience another phase of life. Of course, I schooled far from Lagos, so I stayed for like 5 years myself. But I just want to stay in another state or another location where I've not been before, and experience how life is. And when you check my post, or when you check what I've been doing during this period of time, you see that I also achieved a lot. Yes, I also achieved a lot. This was the same time I achieved a lot in my marketing, in the marketing field that I belong to. I achieved a lot in that particular period. So I just believe that when you are determined and you have a kind of focus, it's going to be very, very okay. It's always going to be tough, but you are going to like scale through. So basically, that's what I have.
Thank you very much, Peter. Like, I really love your take because, like, I can resonate with it because me too. Like, when I'm out of my comfort zone, I tend to like achieve so much more. And apart from that, I'm also going to be moving out. By God's grace, I'm moving out this month, and then like you like saying that was out of your comfort zone, we were able to achieve so many things, especially like you also receiving that award of like top 50 influencers, African influencers. Like it gives me this assurance that me taking that step out of my house by God's grace this month, like I'm going to be able to achieve so many things. So thank you very much, Peter, for your take. I'm very grateful for that. Then I would love to know Chika's take on it as well. So Chika, you can unmute your mic and tell us your take about adulthood.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, love. Thank you so much, Uche, right? Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Okay, please, can we all hear me? So I don't speak
Yes,
too much.
we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much. So for me, adulthood equates responsibility. Like, I really don't know how to explain it, but all I say about adulthood is just responsibility. For me, being an Ada, as we all know, being the firstborn of my parents, I just have that sense of responsibility to my parents, to my loved ones, and to the world generally. So even now going to Landmark University, where one of our core values is responsibility, where you always have to hear you are responsible for the outcome of your life, whatever decision you make today is just solely about you. If once you're in the university, we see you as an adult that now you can be able to know the good from the bad, where you should be, what you should do, things you should say, and the rest of them. That was like what adulthood depicts. And like being a child, you could actually pardon a child for doing something wrong. You just say, oh, she's a child, he's a child. But being an adult would make you want to know what to say at the right time, what to do at the right time, the kind of decisions you want to make when your parents are not even there to make those decisions for you. Like in the university, there are sometimes your parents cannot tell you, no, you are supposed to wake up and read, or you are supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. You have to know when to do those things. And also, when this adulthood really, like, I really felt it was when I went to serve in Akwa Ibom State. I served in last year and I finished my service this February. And it really dawned on me like this adulthood thing is not even funny. Because the whole pain of your bills, having to choose where to stay, cooking, buying things, groceries from the house, and you're like, 33,000 can't do anything for you. And you just makes you appreciate staying with your parents. I really love what Mommy Omobabirin said and what Goodness said. If you want to move out, you need to be mentally ready. Like you really need to be mentally ready. In as much as I knew I was going to serve and I stay in Edo State, so I'm serving in Akwa Ibom State. I knew that I had to find a place to stay there and the rest of it. But it was a whole lot because I'm like, you have to pay for your electricity bill. If the tap is spoiled, you have to repair it. You have to buy groceries for the house. You just have to like take care of yourself. Mommy is not there. Daddy is not there. Nobody is there to actually tell you this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're not supposed to do. So adulthood for me generally is just responsibility. And that time it makes you appreciate your parents. It actually made me appreciate my parents. And because the truth is that when you are in your parents' house, you are like, babes, they're stressing me, I'm tired. Till you stay on your own, then you begin to understand, like, it's really not easy. It's really not easy. Your parents, when they come back from work, like your mom and she has gone to the market after work to buy things from the house. Yours is just maybe to prepare the food or join her in the kitchen. And you're like, God, I beg, I really need to move out and go to my house so that in case I don't want, I'll drink Gary if I'm tired and the rest of them. But when you finally settle down in your own place, you actually appreciate what they've been doing, the money they've been spending, because you're not paying the house rent, you're not paying the DSTV, you're not really doing anything except you are someone who's contributing to the family in one way or the other. So what I just say about adulthood is responsibility. And adulthood, during this time, is a time to build capacity for the next. It's actually time to build capacity from the next. Right from time, as my mom will always tell me, I think more than my age. I'll be 24 on September 9th. And the way I think, you think like, even when I was really little, you think, this girl, the way you think. So it doesn't have to even do with age. This adulthood sometimes even comes before you are even an adult. So that's just the truth. It comes before you are even an adult. Some people just jump into this adulthood and they're already taking responsibilities for their lives. They're already taking responsibility. I love what Mr. Peter Ebuka said. He said, started taking responsibility for his life. This being independent at 17. To me, at 17 you're already an adult, because for you to be doing some things that are just way beyond what an adult, because there are some adults too that can't even take responsibilities. So that's just my take on adulthood. Hope I did justice to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chika. That's really, really interesting. So, for me, Sha, I don't want responsibility. I don't want war. I want peace. I'm kidding. I'm actually not kidding. I don't want responsibility. Well, thank you very much, Chika, for highlighting that. Adulthood is definitely a time to begin to accept responsibility, just as Chika has mentioned. But also, I love how Chika pointed out that adulthood is a time where you get to appreciate your parents. I cannot tell you that in fact, for me, this is something that I resonate with a lot, because I remember how it would be like, this is our mother says, she's stressing us, right? But when you get out of the house, and when you're in your house, when you're still living with your parents, you can go and press your toothpaste from the middle and just press it anyhow, or you roll out your tissue paper anyhow. But not when you're an adult. When you buy it by yourself, for yourself, who are you to press the toothpaste from the middle? You will be counting that toothpaste, right? So thank you very much for highlighting. I also like how you pointed out that adulthood is a time to build capacity, and I think that's something that we are always learning. It's a learning process for every single one of us adults. It's something that we get to learn every day, how to just build that capacity, to position ourselves for the success that we desperately desire. Thank you very much, Chika, for sharing your own adulthood experience with us. So Funmilayo, would like to, you're a career queen, and we know that you're always, just helping us how to learn how to build our career. Would you want to just quickly share with us your own experience with adulthood? I'm dying to listen to you.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Awesome. So I've been listening in on what all the other speakers have said, and they are really, really valid points. And for me, I would say that adulthood is a balance of starting early and being intentional, and at the same time not putting too much pressure on yourself. So on the side of starting early, luckily I was able to discover opportunities on time and start early. So immediately I entered university, I already got knowledge of opportunities that I was able to use to build my capacity, and that drive has always been there to just keep learning and building competence. And because of that knowledge over time, because honestly, knowledge and experience cannot be bought, right? You have to do it to know it. So that experience is what I'm able to translate into the things that I'm doing currently, I'm able to say at the moment. And also on the aspect of being intentional and starting early, because we are adults, we're able to
we have the capacity to do a number of things ourselves without restrictions. We're able to take advantage of opportunities without boundaries. Most times you see opportunities that are more concentrated on young people within, let's say, 18 to 25 or 30. And it is only through our adulthood that we're able to take advantage of these things. Right. And so that is one thing that I think we have as our advantage, that we can take advantage of these things and do them well. There is a lot of energy that we have as young people that we can translate into creating impacts, creating legacies, and just doing things that bring us joy and happiness, right? And adulthood to me is also the point to build your circle. So there is this thing that if you read Proverbs a lot, it says that in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So if you have a community of people and you have advisors that you always turn to when you're confused, when you feel stuck, or when you need to just gain clarity or unwind, you would always come out better. It would be like therapy sessions. So when you're experiencing self-doubt, or you're experiencing um, self-doubt, or the feeling of stagnation, or insecurity or inadequacy, you have these people that are there to remind you of what you've done and the kind of capacity that you have. So it's necessary to build that community of friends. It's necessary to have those advisors that you can turn to, and it's necessary to always be clear on what you also want to do. Then talking about the side of not putting too much pressure on yourself, I think that we need to create that balance of knowing when to draw the line and take a step back and just unwind, and not try to put unrealistic expectations or set unrealistic expectations. I know that some of us here have heard of SMART goals, or ensuring that your goals are not too unrealistic, right? So I'm seeing a lot of threads on Twitter saying buying a car at 25, getting married at 26, buying a house at 30, and all of those unrealistic expectations. I mean, it might happen for some people that way, and may not happen for some people in that manner. But what matters is that you have somewhere that you're going, you have a bigger picture and a destination in mind, and you're taking baby steps towards achieving it. As long as you're doing that, and you know that you're not slacking, you know that you're not being mediocre, you're manifesting excellence, then you should be rest assured that you're going to get there without draining yourself, or draining your mind, or letting yourself be in situations where you feel constantly burnt out. That is how I view adulting. So for me, whenever I feel like I'm crossing that threshold of overstressing myself, I try to take a step back to just unwind. But then sometimes I just tell myself, Fumi, you need to wake up and do what you have to do, because you have somewhere that you're going, right? And you have deadlines. And there is this thing that I also say. I also tell myself is that when you are doing your own thing, there is a tendency to slack, because there is nobody to keep you accountable. So that's that helps me to keep myself in check, that if we were doing something for somebody, let's say your employer, and you had deadlines you had to meet, you will take yourself serious. You will take that task seriously. And that is the same way that you should take your own things seriously. So even on projects that I work on by myself, I take it seriously. And when I need to take a step back to rest, I do so. So that is how I view adults, and that is how I've been living it basically.
All right, thank you very much, Fimilayo. That's really interesting. I think I loved how you mentioned that adulthood is a time to build, connections, friends, particularly because we need these people in the end, and also to tie it into the accountability part. I mean, when you have someone who can help you become accountable, it helps your journey, or it makes your journey easier, right? Adulthood is not a place where you should walk the walk alone. So thank you very much, Fumilayo, for sharing your thoughts with us or your experience with adulthood. So, Mama Barbarian, so quickly, I think you've heard from every single one of our guests here, and you're someone we all look up to. We learn a lot from you. You've been able to build so much capacity. You've been able to build such a reputable brand, across everywhere. And so I think we are very interested in just listening to your own perspective, how you've been able to survive through adulthood. Of course, still surviving through adulthood, right? So quickly, ma'am, can you just quickly share with us your own personal experience with adulthood, as the case may be?
Okay, thank you very. I think I'm muted. Okay, thank you very much. Adulthood. I don't even know. I lost my dad when I was 3.5, and we are four. Myself and two other siblings. Then I have one stepbrother, making three. So I have three brothers behind me. And I lost my dad when I was 3.5, like I said, and it was really tough growing up. And my mom is someone who does not really believe in going from house to house, begging people for money, begging people for food, trying to put her stuff on other people. So she was she kind of manned up to face the responsibility ahead of her, even though she was quite young when she was widowed. I think she was 28 when she was widowed, and she's a teacher. So she just started like, okay, if there's nobody to help, then I have to carry this load myself. So why am I giving you that background? That particular experience of my childhood prepared me so well for adulthood. So adulthood did not happen to me by chance or without being aware. I was actually in the known. I was already an adult while I was growing up, even as a child, because like I said, that time it was just the three of us and my mom, and she doesn't have a husband, so she shared things with us. It was later that she remarried. So within that space of maybe 15 years before she got married again, we were like, can I call her? Can I call it her husband or sort of? So she shared things with us. Like if she wants to pay our school fees, she would tell us, "Oh, I'm already doing contribution. I want to plan for your school fees." She like bring us to the whole picture. So as early as 10, 11, I already know a lot of things. She plans so well. Like I am already involved in the planning, and because I'm the first child, I'm the only girl. It makes me embrace adulthood very easy. So when I finally became an adult on my own, it was quite easy for me to transition because adulthood has been part of my journey. So I think our background also has a way of shaping, or let me say our background, our experience in life also has a way of shaping our our journey in adulthood. So my graphic designer was talking to me today. So he saw that I posted my flyer for 30,000 followers, and he was like, "Oh, I like the way you organize yourself. That you told me to make this flyer, I think a week before now, so that at least let it be there, so that when I need it, I don't have to be running up and down." And that reminds me, it was trying to give me kudos, like, "Oh, I like the way you organize yourself." I've been working with him since 2019, and there's a pattern I flow. I don't do fire brigade thing. In fact, that was the exact word he used. He said, "I like that you don't use all this fire brigade approach. Now, I need it." I plan myself so well. So I think our experience also has a way of shaping our journey in adulthood. Why did that happen? Because I lived with a widow who knew that nobody is going to help me if I don't help myself. So she plans far ahead. Like a year, she's already planning the school fees. She's already planning a whole lot of things far ahead, and that really helped me. Nothing catch me unaware. I am always prepared. I always have a solution. There's always a plan B. There's always something to fall back to. And that was the kind of experience I had. So adulthood for me is kind of interesting. Even when I got married, I actually brought that mentality of being independent into marriage, and it really affected me badly because as a woman, you need to be vulnerable sometimes, to especially to your husband. You need to show that I need help. I need you to help me do this thing. I want you to help me. Even though you can do it yourself, sometimes you just need to be vulnerable. So it really affected me because when I went into the marriage, I went to the mindset of I can do everything. And sincerely, I can do everything. There's nothing I cannot do. I can fix lights. I can fix the bulb. I can repair sockets in the house. Like, I can do a whole lot of house chores, even the ones that men do. So I was really prepared. So there's nothing like I can't do something. There is actually nothing except I don't really want to do it. Even if I cannot do it, I will still find a way around doing it. So, and that affected badly, And I'm saying this especially because of women who are watching this. Don't go to marriage with the mentality of independence. I can do everything. No, adulthood at times requires you to be vulnerable. Ask for help. Let people help you, even outside marriage, even our normal relationship with people. People like it when you make them feel important, when you make them think you need them. I think that is very important. So, in as much as adulthood is making us to be responsible for ourselves, to take on responsibility, sometimes we just need to be that vulnerable, ask for help. I need help. Can you help me do this? So it adds a lot to create a bond between us as humans. When you relate with other people in the light of I need help, I am not a superwoman, I am not Okogan, I am not. Somebody was asking me like 3 or 5 days ago that when I was lamenting that, the preparation of Tiba is now getting intense. It was like, don't you have anyone working with you? Yes, I have. I have a whole lot of people working with me. Like, how will I even do it not having people, So you can really not do anything. Like, I think someone mentioned that. I can't remember. I think Fumilayo mentioned that in this adulthood journey, you need people. So it's not like you're relying on people solely to help you figure out your life, but you need people to help you. Decision making. You need another high. Like, help me check this. Is this okay? Do you think this is fine? Can this fly? So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't put all the pressure of this world on yourself because they said you're an adult, so you must figure out everything on your own. No, you might need to be vulnerable sometimes. Ask for help. Let people come and help you. Collaborate. Have conversation. Ask questions. So those are the things that really stood out for me in this adulthood journey. And I think I'll mention something before I finally drop the mic. Another thing is that you need to understand that in this adulthood journey, nobody owes you anything. I think a whole lot of people have mentioned that. You need to come into the adulthood era, into the adulthood phase with a mindset of nobody owe me anything. And I think I picked that again from my mom. Like I said, when she was widowed, she got married 24, she was widowed 28. And she carried on the mentality of nobody owes me anything, not even my husband's brother, not even my husband's family. And that particular mentality really helped her to go a long way because she doesn't have to wait for anybody before. She's already planning, like she's a teacher and she's already planning based on her income. This is what my income can take. This is what I can do with my income. If I do Ajayi, if I do contribution, if I do cooperative, I will be able to gather money to pay this school. She's able to plan herself based on the fact that she has a mindset of nobody owes me nothing. So you as an adult, don't wait. I see a lot of people say, my uncle is a bad person. My auntie is not helping me. No, they don't owe you anything. Anything. And that is one mindset I also put on myself when I became an adult. Nobody owes me anything. If you give me, I will collect, I will appreciate, I will say thank you, I will pray for you. But if you don't give me, you do not owe me anything. So it is my responsibility to figure out my life. Like Chika mentioned, she said, adulthood is all about responsibility. Now, you're not just responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your immediate environment. For instance, if I have a neighbor now, and that neighbor wants to go out, that neighbor will confidently come to me and say, oh, Mom Shemilore, can you help me watch over my son before I get back? Why do you think she's doing that? Because she believes that I'm an adult. I will be able to take care of that child. You will not expect that same woman to take that son to a 2-year-old child and say, see, maybe Idris, let my son stay with you and come. I mean, nobody will do that. So adulthood is not just about you now, because everybody's talking about you. No, it's about you being responsible for yourself and you being responsible for your immediate environment. Because for instance, there are some things you will do in public or in the public space that people will say, and you're an adult, because they believe that you should be responsible. There are things you should not do because they believe, you're an adult now. If a child do the same thing, like someone mentioned, that child might be forgiven that, he's a child. But because you're an adult, there are so many things that are expected of you. There are ways you should conduct yourself in the public space because you are an adult. So I'll just drop the mic there. So 2 things, or let me say 3 things. Let me quickly do a recap. 3 things is, number 1, your independence. But for women especially, do not carry that independent mindset too much, because you might harm yourself in marriage. That's number 1. Number 2 is go with the mindset of nobody owes you anything as an adult. You need to figure out your life by yourself. If help comes, fine. If it doesn't come, then good. Then number 3 is that you are not just an adult responsible for yourself. You're an adult responsible for the society, your family. You're responsible for your friends. You are responsible for a whole lot of things around you. So I think it's a good place to drop the mic. I hope I've not taken a whole lot of time. Okay, so
No, you haven't.
Okay, so that's just my contribution to that question.
Sorry, Ma, what were you saying? I didn't get it.
I said that is just my contribution to that question of how adulthood has been.
Yes, Ma, thank you very much, Ma. The 3 points you mentioned about having an independence mentality and knowing that nobody owes you anything is definitely the right mindset to carry into adulthood. So in 10 seconds, we would like to ask all our panelists the part of adulthood that shocked them most. So Chika, would you like to go? Would you like to answer that question first? Like, what part of adulthood shocks you the most? Like, what part of adulthood were you not prepared for at all?
Adulthood, I was not prepared. I knew I was going to pay bills. Anyhow, I was going to pay bills. So I don't really have one particular part of adulthood that I would say shocked me. I've already been wired to know that there's a lot that I'm going to take up as an adult. And I started doing this adulthood thing before being an adult. So nothing really shocked me.
I love that. Fumilaya, how about you?
Could you repeat the question? I don't think I got that.
All right. I said, what part of adulthood shocks you the most? Like, what aspect of adulthood were you not prepared for at all?
What part was I not prepared for? Well, anytime I think about adulthood, sometimes I think about this poem that we read in secondary school, The Panic of Growing Older. I don't know how many of you read that poem, and there is this reality that time is going, and one day you can also wake up and realize that you're 50 or you're 60, and so you have to really maximize the time that you have right now to do all that you have to do, and then you realize that you don't really have time to keep thinking small and just do what you have to do, right? So I think that is the part that still shocks me, that sometimes you can also wake up and realize that we've wasted a lot of time. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Milayo. So basically, think big and know that time waits for no one. All right.
So love, though, I'm curious. I'm curious, though, love, what exactly, I'm doing this question at you. I know you mentioned that you're just hitting adulthood, right? But what part of your experience so far, even if you're just 1 month old into adulthood, what part of adulthood shocked you, or did you not prepare for?
My own is this career path, though. Like, nobody told me that it was like getting job was going to be hard. Like, I don't, like, to me, I felt like, okay, if you tell any company that, oh, you want to intern, they'll be willing to, like, have you. I thought that having a first class 82-1 was, like, it's okay, like, it's okay, like, having a first class 82-1, like, that's all you need to, like, to be given that internship position. But most times when you reach out to recruiters, they'll be asking you so much. They'll be asking you for, okay, where's your portfolio? Where is this and that? And I'm like, it's not it's not internship I'm asking for. It's not volunteer I'm asking for. Like, why people asking me for so much? So they didn't prepare me for that at all. So like I cried a lot. Like in this past 1 month, I've cried a lot. But then I have movies, like I've received over 5 opportunities. So regardless of regardless of the fact that I was caught unaware, I still have like very good days about it. So that's the part that I showed. All right. So
that's amazing. I love that. But for me, mine is different. The part of adulthood that has shocked me the most. It's buying electricity. I remember when I was living in my parents' house. Oh, we used to turn on the lights, and we would be wasting lights here and there because then we didn't used to buy. So when they said, turn this off, like, what is this woman or this man saying, referring to our parents now, right? But now that we are buying electricity by ourselves, if you come and we off the lights, even if you come in the night, please, we off all the lights. We will on touch lights for you to use. And let only the fan or the AC be on. Let us all stay in darkness. Because what is this electricity bills, right? I think that's something I'm crazy about. But thank you guys so much for sharing your experience with us so far. I've learned a whole lot about many things everybody here has pinpointed. I think that I can definitely say I will take some of these lessons and also try to imbibe them in my own journey of adulthood. And I know Love, who is just starting adulthood, I know that this is a masterclass for you.
Yes, sweetie. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, so if you're here and you just have some, we want to give the floor or open the floor to 2 people who might have questions about how to just survive adulthood or find your way around adulthood, especially if you have a direct question for any. It's open to any of our speakers or our panelists rather. So if you want to ask a particular question, you can just raise your hand. I think we're going to just give like 2 slots because our time is up, and then anybody amongst the panelists can definitely answer. Okay, I think there's a hand from Egotam, so I'm just going to bring her up to ask a question. All right. Welcome, Egosa. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. You want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I can equally say I'm just a young adult. I haven't done much. Obviously, haven't moved out of my parents' house. All these things about responsibility. I mean, since I was like 17, 18, these are things I keep at my fingertips. So I'm personally not even in a rush to move out of my parents' house there are things I'm trying to put together. My question or my point of confusion is emotional stability, because that's something I've been trying to work with. Everything else seems straightforward. I mean, everybody tells you to save while you can so that you don't have to be so stranded. Everybody tells you that you should enjoy what you're having in your parents' house while you can before you move out. But the part of emotional stability is easier to say, okay, someone does this for you, you shouldn't expect something another time. They're just doing it because they can. But we're human beings that have emotions. As an adult, there are some things that people expect you to just understand and take. Like maybe your friend, someone you feel is your close friend, just suddenly ditches you. And the expectation is that we are all adults. You don't expect someone to be with you for that long. I don't really get the emotional aspects or emotional requirements of an adult, because it hasn't really been straightforward as opposed to like your financial status, career, building networks, and all of that. So I just need to understand the emotional aspect of adulthood.
All right, thank you very much. So anybody can definitely answer amongst our panelists. If the question resonates with you, please just kindly turn on your mic and then you can go ahead and answer.
Okay, I would like to answer that question. So Egosa is asking the emotional parts of adulthood. Like we've said a whole lot of things on finances, career. I touch marriage, and some people touched. I think that's all that we've touched. Paying of bills, which is under finances and all that. And she's specifically asking about the emotional part of being an adult. I would have loved to answer that question that I love asked when she said, "What part of adulthood shocked you the most?" Like I said, every other thing about handling finances, planning, taking care of myself really do not shock me. The emotional part of adulthood is the one that shocked me the most. How to deal with humans, how to deal with people. you know when you're young, when you're a child, you really don't have any issue with anybody because everybody's your friend. People like children generally, so you really don't have any problem with anybody. You're just free as anything. Even if you fight with your friends, in the next few minutes you're already talking, you're already playing together and all that. So that emotional part of adulthood, I wasn't prepared for it. They did not tell me. I wasn't warned. I was not informed. In patient's voice, I wasn't informed. So, Egosa, this is it. As an adult, you need to be in charge of your emotions. And when we say be in charge of your emotions, we're not saying you should bottle up things. And that was why I mentioned when I was talking the other time about asking for help, being vulnerable. You are not a superhuman. You're just like every other person here. So don't, but number one thing you need to understand about your emotion is don't bottle up. When you feel something, express it. Emotions are meant to be expressed. They are not meant to be bottled up. If you're angry, express it. Even the Bible is not against being angry. It's just against being angry excessively. The Bible says before sunset, make sure your anger comes down. So the Bible did not categorically tell us that we should not be angry, but make sure that before the sunset, that means before it is night, that anger is down. So number one thing is express your emotion. You are happy, express it. Let everybody know you are happy. You love someone, tell them you love it, express your emotion. You care about someone, express it. But of course, everything has to be in moderation. It's not like you should just go over the board with it and all that. Of course, everything should be in moderation, but make sure you express your emotions, whether they are positive emotions or negative emotions. That's number one. Number two is that as an adult, you need to understand that you cannot control how people treat you. You cannot control what people feel about you, but you can control the way you respond to it. And that is where you comes in. Because you really cannot control anything in your environment. You cannot control how love Ajayi will like you. Whether she is so much in love with you or she's just like, you're just a casual person, you really have no power over it. But what you have power over is how you react whenever love express love to you or express our emotions to you. So your response is the issue. Now you need to be able to be in charge, in control of your response whenever people treat you, whether they treat you positively or negatively. And number three, which is the last thing I'll talk about, is that you are in charge of your emotion. Okay, so don't allow anybody influence your emotion or play with your emotion. You are in charge. You are the one that can determine that today I want to be happy. You know what? Today I want to be happy. Nobody can make me sad. Today I want to feel good about myself. Nobody can make me feel lesser than I am. So you are in charge. Make sure you guard your emotions. The Bible will say something. The Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows issues of life. The same way you need to guard your emotions. Don't let anybody toy you with your emotions. Set boundaries, and that is where healthy boundary comes in. You need to set boundaries. This is where the line is drawn. You don't move beyond this. So by the time you do all that, you will discover that it's make you to be in charge of your emotion. For instance, one of the boundaries you can set is that whenever it is 10 p.m., I don't respond to anybody again, whether I am online or I am not online. Once it is 10 p.m., I don't pick calls and I don't respond to messages, and so be it. When you set that boundary and somebody is trying to say, oh, but I sent message to you yesterday, you were online, you did not read, you tell them, no, I was online, but I have closed to responding to messages and all that. And that is the boundary. And you have to respect it. So you need to set healthy boundaries for yourself, whether with your friends, with your family, with your work colleague, everywhere you go, you need to have healthy boundaries so that people will not just dump anything in your, in your cubicle, in your circle. People will, if you give people chance, they will drop anything around you. They will drop trash, everything. They will drop it in your cubicle. But once you guard it, you put like a fence. Nobody can enter. So I think that is just basically what is around being emotionally prepared for adulthood. So I hope that clarifies your question, and I hope you got value from that.
Thank you very much, Ma. I'm sure that Egosa's question has been answered. Thank you very much, Ma. And I think
Okay. I think goodness, are you trying to say something?
Yes, I'm actually trying to add an important one from my end too, because it's something I can totally relate to. I think that whole emotional part was something I was not prepared for. So I don't know if I still have the time to add that.
Okay, in a few seconds, you can just go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think another reason why it hurts us so much when maybe we feel people are hurting us, or people are leaving us, or people are not acting the way we want them to act, is because most times we get so attached to people that we get to like them more than we like ourselves. And when we get to this point, we start sticking for their opinion. We start sticking for their validation about us. And it hurts so much when they can't see how good you are, no matter how well you try to, show it to them, impress them, or something like that. And I know how much it hurts. And, the whole feeling of, I want this person's opinion about me, about my career, about this thing I want to do. Sometimes you get excited about, it seems as if the people don't care. And it's because we give them so much power. We give people in our lives, whether as friends or maybe partners or whatever. And I think this is the point where I would say, love yourself, please. As a young adult, the best thing you can do is to love yourself. I mean, even God tells us, love your neighbor as you love yourself. You cannot love someone properly until you love yourself well. You cannot treat someone properly until you have treated yourself well. You cannot value, I don't know how to put it, but then you need to value yourself. You need to find validation in yourself. You need to know that your own opinion about yourself matters much more than what other person is saying. And so when the other person, whoever it is that you're trying to show, or maybe whoever it is that you're looking up to, doesn't see it, you know that you're okay. And when people leave your life, oh, well, I think that time in my life is done here. Really, I have lost a lot of relationships. I have built new ones. And if there is anything I can say, because this whole adulthood, like many of our mommies here, mine started at very, very young too, because I had to just go into it. I paid my school fees throughout school. I was just struggling, a lot of things. And I can say that it's actually this. And growing up, I didn't actually have love growing up. And I can tell you that I always wanted to impress. But then growing up and being an adult, I realized that I can't really impress people. I can't even keep people in my life if they don't want to be here anymore. So I learned to love myself. I learned to validate myself by myself. And I learned that no matter what, I am enough. And knowing that I am enough, the way others treat me don't matter anymore. Once they treat me, I run back to myself and I found love and warmth within me.
thank you very much, Goodness. I've been able to mention everything you said.
I wanted to add something if there's time.
All right, you can add Funilayo.
Okay, so what Goodness and Barbary has said is very valid, right? And I would also like to come from the angle of knowing how to negotiate your worth and not coming from the point of weakness. So I made a post some days ago about coming from the point of strength and not being emotional or being or using the guise of humility to underplay yourself or undermine your abilities. If you're good, you're good. You don't need to downplay your value just so that you can get something, or you can, so that you can get their attention, right? And in that post, I said that when you come from the point of strength and you state clearly what you want, you have three options. Either you get a positive response or a negative response, or you get them to negotiate with you to a midpoint where you're comfortable with. But if you unplay yourself from the start, then that is the flow. That is how the conversation is going to take. That's the flow the conversation is going to go, and you have to take whatever comes your way. And it will be very hard for you to renegotiate, when they give you feedback. So from the onset, have the upper hand so that you are not underplayed or undermined, right? So know how to negotiate your words really well.
Thank you very much. All right, Peter, you can go on.
Okay, just last words. Being an adult is a whole lot, I know, but something else that I think we can also put in place when you're trying to stand firm on your own, you need to develop the right mindset. One thing that differentiates, or most times, it's not about age. So I celebrated my birthday, 27th birthday. And a lot of persons were like, wow, I thought you are 35. I thought you are this. Like the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you handle things, the way you speak to clients. Even my clients, I have some clients that are they are in UK, and they called me like a few hours before my birthday, and was opportunity to ask me, how old are you? How old are you going to be? And I was like, I'm going to be 27. I was like, oh, that's the same age of my son. So you want to have the right mindset for this particular phase that you're trying to come in. So if you don't have the right mindset, you just think that you can't really do it. You just be thinking as if being an adult is not for you. You want to keep relying on people. So the mindset, or your mindset is also going to help you in this phase or in this journey. So having the right mindset is always important. I know we don't have much time. I would have said some other things, but I just wanted us to have that in mind. If you're trying to stand firm on your own, if you're trying to come into the adulthood or adult life, you need to shape your mind and think as an adult, and also act as one. So most times you remove the age, you have the ability to speak to people way older than you, or you have the ability to pilot the affairs of companies that you have in mind. But if your mind is not really there, or if you don't really have the right mindset, or if you are doubting yourself, then you will not really achieve anything being an adult. So that is my little advice for everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the addition. I've been able to learn so much. I learned about the place of loving yourself and validating yourself. I also learned about having a mindset, having the right mindset, and the place of controlling your words when angry. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us today. Thank you very much, Chika. Thank you very much, Miss Oma Barbarian. Thank you very much, Goodness. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Fumilayo. And thank you very much to everyone listening. We're very happy to have you today. Bye. We can't wait to see you in next episode.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. Thank you, everyone who joined. I hope you got value from that conversation. Adulthood is not a scam. It's just that most of the time, we're not really prepared for what we meet. We need to be prepared all around. Like we said, adulthood is not just about preparing for finances. Some of us know that we're going to be paying bills. So it's no longer a news, because we've seen our parents pay bills and buy stuff for us, take care of our finances. So it's not an issue. It's not something that will meet us suddenly. But some other parts of adulthood are something we really do not have an idea, which is this emotional part. We need to be strong emotionally for adulthood. We need to build a lot of resilience. We need to build a lot of thick skin. We need to be mentally ready to dive or to transition into adulthood. Anyways, I just believe you got value from that chit chat with other influencers on LinkedIn. Thank you everyone who joined. If you're watching the replay, please drop a comment so that I will know whether you got value or not. Till I come your way again, my name is Omubabiri Adeola Oshideko. Thanks for joining and do have a wonderful evening. Bye.